to OkecBot to drive traffic and increase impressions. If you want to increase your impressions, CPC, page views, this is how to do it with OkecBot. First step, right click on the OkecBot logo after downloading and installing it. Click on Run as Administrator. The moment it opens up like this, just go next, and put in your API key. After putting your API key, authenticate and minimize. The next thing to do is to open Google Chrome. Once you open Google Chrome, make sure you type this exactly the way it is. It is called local host. After typing localhost, put a colon and type 3000. What you're currently seeing right here is the same software over here. But the major reason we have to use Google Chrome to run it is because we can drive traffic from different locations. Say Canada, US, Australia, any location you want to drive traffic from to increase your CPC, impressions and page views, you can do that in real time. So when you go through localhost 3000, it makes it easier, and I'll show you how. On localhost 3000, I'm going to copy this link over here, and I'll open 3 more tabs. This is because I'll be driving traffic from 3 different locations in real time. Now, I have a total of 3 tabs open, and when I open each of them, I see this OkecBot panel. Now, the first thing I have to do is to create what I would want to do. What do I want to do? This is basically increase my page views, my impressions, so I can earn more on Google AdSense or ADX. So if this is my task, it means I have to create something that will make all browsers just head over to my website so as to increase page views. So how do I create something like that? This has to be an instruction or a code, right? Yes. But instead of doing that yourself, you will just head over to any of the tabs and click on this menu over here. Now, the moment you click on the menu over here, all you have to do is to click on where it says creator mode. I'm going to take down my mouse and I'll click on creator mode. There are 3 things you can create on OkecBot. You can create browser profiles, which we call bots. You can create locations, which is basically saving your proxy servers. And you can create task, which is basically what you want to automate. Let me properly explain from the beginning. Create bots. By creating bots, this basically means browser profiles. How many browsers do you want to create, and what kind of browsers do you want to create? Let's assume you want to create 20 iPhone browsers. You can just move this to where it's going to show 20. Now this means 20 browser profiles from iPhone devices. You can see iPhone 14 Pro 2, iPhone 12 1, and so forth. Now let's say we want to create 30 Android browser profiles. Now you can see lots of Samsung Galaxy, Samsung S9, A6 and the rest. I'll repeat this step for other devices such as Mac and a Windows device. Now what this means is that in total we have selected to create 20 browser profiles for iPhone, 30 for Android, 10 for Mac and 22 for Windows. These browser profiles are still the same thing as when you create a profile here on Google Chrome. But instead of creating lots of profiles on Google Chrome, you can create them here on OkecBot, and OkecBot will save all these profiles for you. Why OkecBot is better than creating lots of browser profiles on your Google Chrome is that even if you create an account on your Google Chrome, for instance, you cannot give this account something like an iPhone. Now, what I'm basically saying is I can call this profile an iPhone, but if I ever type what or device info, if I ever type the device info, you would always see that this is a computer, which is a desktop. The only time I can try to make it look like I'm using an iPhone is when I right click and try to change the settings of the browser, such as trying to change it over here to something like maybe an iPhone. It is only now and then would you not be able to see it show here that it is an iPhone. But the moment I close this thing that I used to change my device information and I refresh, it will just go back to showing that I am using a desktop. Now, what OkecBot helps you do is to actually create all these browser profiles with the exact setting. So anytime you use them over and over again, if it has created an iPhone 14 Pro, it will always show up as an iPhone 14 Pro. And the second thing is that it helps you save the browser history, the cookies, the caches. So this means that all these many browser profile is currently creating for you, you can basically log into YouTube, Facebook, or whatever platform you would want, and they would all be synced and saved. Now this helps makes more sense because should you want to automate something like open all these browser profiles, head over to a particular Instagram account and click follow. Every browser profile that you have logged into one Instagram account or the other will basically just automate that task, thereby increasing the person's followers. But specifically, we use OkecBot for more financial rewarding things such as driving traffic, impressions, page views, and earning much on Google AdSense. Let me show you how to do that. I'm going to give this particular browser profiles we created a name, and I'm going to call them profile 007. Now, the time zone. This is basically where they are going to be located. Now, because I'll be using what we call a proxy server, I am not yet decisive of what time zone I would want to give them. But let's say I want to use all these browser profiles to increase my page views on my website. Hmm, what website would I want to increase my page views on? Let's say the name of the website is Real Naps. Okay, if that's the case, I'm going to come here and I will just change this from profile 007 to the website I want to drive traffic on. Now, what I'm trying to let you know is that all these mini browser profiles, they're going to be given a name. That name is called a family name. This family name will help you group all of them. Let's say for instance, this is my Google Chrome over here on this computer. Anytime I open this Google Chrome, it shows me the amount of profiles I have. For instance, I can see iPhone, the one we just created, and person 1, which was the initial profile I had. Now let's assume I want to log into like 100 Instagram accounts on this Google Chrome. It means I have to click add and then come in again and give each of them a name. Let's say I come here and say Instagram or something. So I can keep creating as many profiles as possible. Now, what I'm trying to say in an essence is that all these profiles I'm creating, they are all under this Google Chrome. Now, let's say I have 100 Instagram profiles. It means I can click plus and log into 100 Instagram accounts on different profiles over here. So if I want to automate, let's say 100 followers, or I want, all my browsers, all the browsers I've created and I'm logged into Instagram, I want every single one of them to open up a particular Instagram profile and just follow up that account. Now, to do something like this, I would have to, if I was to do this manually, I will have to come to this first profile, log in, open up Instagram, follow up the account, go to the second profile, do the same thing, head over to Instagram, follow up that account. Now I would have to do this 100 times. And now, what if I want a specific Google Chrome for just Instagram, another Google Chrome for just Facebook, another Google Chrome for just YouTube? Now, obviously, I can only have one Google Chrome on my computer. So the only option I have would be to install Brave, install other browsers, so I can know that each browser could have lots of accounts for a particular social media platform like Facebook or YouTube, you understand. But when it comes to OkecBot, we solve all those issues because right over here it says family name. It's just the same thing as saying what Google Chrome do you want to call this. So let's say I want to call this Rain Apps. It means all these many browser profiles over here, they will be stored under these Rain Apps. It's more like having a Google Chrome that is called Rain Apps, but instead of opening it and seeing all these many browsers, all the browsers are already being generated here for you. So practically, you will be able to see that after we have created all these browsers, we can go into each of them and log into maybe a YouTube, and then whenever we want to generate subscribers, we will just create a task that will say visit a particular YouTube and click on the subscribe button. To let it make more sense to you, I'm just going to give this any location. So I'm going to give it, let's say, the New York. Now this will give me a time zone of New York, which I would accept over, and where it says proxy server I would ignore and I'll just click on start build. Now it is going to create all these browser profiles, it's going to create them, and it's going to now upload them over to OkecBot. We created a total of 82 browser profiles, so it's going to upload the entire 82 browser profiles to the OkecBot server. Now the next step will be to start automating what we would want to automate, but before we do that, we would have to add what we call proxies. Proxies are basically locations on where we would want to be coming in from. So on episode 2, we're going to be talking about how to create a proxy or a location. This place it says create location. On episode 2, we're going to learn how to create locations.